Today we're going to be talking about some of the biggest mismatches in MMA history. First, I want to talk about when Mike Jackson faced CM Punk. Now everybody knows CM Punk because from his WWE career, right? And Mike Jackson is a journalist. They said, all right, let's put Mike Jackson, an MMA journalist, with CM Punk for CM Punk's debut. Didn't go well. CM Punk got dominated the whole time. We never saw him fight again in MMA since then. And then Mike Jackson took a few years off, came back. He actually got a victory in his second to last fight, but it was because he got like kneed in the lower groin area and poked in the eyes. There were so many penalties that it was a disqualification victory. So it wasn't really a technical victory, if you will. But he did on paper record an MMA professional win. And then recently he just got brutally knocked out. So, it was one of those situations where I think the UFC and Dana were hoping that they could get, CM Punk with a win and then build him up maybe for a next fight, give him more time to train. But that all went to no-no, and we never saw CM Punk again, and I highly doubt that we see Mike Jackson in the octagon again. And if we do, I don't even know why it should be sanctioned, but definitely a weird one in terms of MMA history. Next up, BJ Penn versus Yair Rodriguez. Now, BJ Penn was one of the MMA legends, right? This is a guy who was champ. This is a guy who was for a long time just known as this absolute savage brawler, could beat anybody on the planet, right? And then he started losing a little, and then he came out of retirement for this fight against Yair Rodriguez. Now, at the time, Yair Rodriguez was a prospect. Today, Yair Rodriguez is a bad man. This is, in my opinion, one of the best featherweights in the world. We don't see him as active as maybe we'd like to because of injuries and whatever, and honestly, I don't think people really want to fight him. He's incredibly flashy with the way he mixes up his striking, whatever. And so BJ Penn came out of retirement, fought Yair Rodriguez, got dropped, knocked out, and that was his fourth consecutive MMA loss. And then actually gets even worse from that point on. He would lose another 4 fights. So he ended his career on an 8-fight losing streak from 2011 to 2019. And it was sad at the end, right? Because you're looking at a guy who clearly was one of the best in the world and then just could not hang as he got older because, as we know, Father Time is undefeated. And finally retired in 2019, and we haven't seen him since. So I wish BJ Penn all the best in retirement. Last, I want to talk about Sage Northcutt and Cosmo Alexander. This was also a weird mismatch, if you will. I think promotional just blunder, because you're looking at a guy like Sage Northcutt, who was in the UFC. He was the poster boy golden child of the UFC. Like, everybody thought he was the next big thing. He was freakishly athletic. He was a good-looking guy. He was ripped to the gills. And then the first fight they put him in, now this was brutal. I don't know who's Northcutt's manager or what one championship was thinking. They put him up a weight class against a world-class kickboxer in Cosmo Alexander, and Sage Northcutt just gets absolutely obliterated. I think he had close to 8 facial fractures, and this is a guy who models on the side as well, so that's also detrimental to his career. But they basically wanted to put him in there against some kind of name guy that they thought he could beat. And you got to remember, Sage Northcutt is good, right? But he's still young, and he was, I would say at that point in time, not a new prospect, but still one of those people that won championship wanted to build up as their next superstar, especially because he had all that draw from the UFC. And then he just gets absolutely blasted away by a guy who's really, really good, if people know who Cosmo Alexander is. So I guess unfortunate, really, and we haven't seen Sage, I believe it's been about 3 years now since that moment. I'm wishing Sage all the best. He seems like a really, really nice guy. It's another one where you scratch your head and you're like, wait, what's going on here? Because the real sharps of the MMA and one championship world should have known a little better than to put a guy like Sage, who's still young, against a killer like Cosmo. Anyways, as always, please don't forget to subscribe to the best place for all of your favorite combat sports news. Swipe up and join the FS team.